Hello from your state capital. I'm Jim Moeller, and I'm very proud to help represent Clark County here in the legislature. While we're in session, I'm sharing these regular TV updates. And as always, I thank you for sharing your ideas and thoughts about what's going on here in Olympia. Your comments help me do a better job representing our communities and neighborhoods. As I film this edition of my legislative update, we're already halfway through our third week of the 2009 session. Several bills I'm sponsoring reflect ideas brought to my attention by folks in our Southwest Washington communities. Today, I want to review a few of these proposals. One of them, House Bill 1103, reflects an extension of work on an issue I pursued for a couple of years now. The issue is protection for vulnerable adults. My bill this year would prevent a convicted abuser from inheriting property or receiving any benefit from a vulnerable adult who's been the victim of financial exploitation by the abuser. Now, abuser is defined as a person who participates either as a principal or as an accessory before the fact in the willful and unlawful financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. Now, two other bills I'm prime sponsoring, House Bill 1070 and 1102, are aimed at strengthening programs and services for indigent veterans and their families. In the first measure, our state would set up lottery games to the profits going solely to support veterans services. Terms of the legislation require the Lottery Commission to conduct at least 2, but not more than 4 scratch games on Memorial Day and Veterans Day each year to help veterans and their families. The other Veterans Bill involves the percentage of property tax revenue that counties set aside to fund services for veterans and their families. Now, this legislation involves Indigent Veterans Fund, on which I've worked for several years. The problem I'm endeavoring to fix is the continuing huge gap in services provided by the Department of Veterans Affairs and the real needs of our veterans. What I propose in the legislation is that we lift the cap on property tax revenue that can be used specifically for the county veterans assistance programs. Now, a fourth specific bill, House Bill 1307, involves public health financing. I'm proposing this legislation to create a streamlined system of funding for our public health departments. Current funding comes from several different sources, including the portion of the budget set aside to fill the hole dug by Initiative 695. Now, money also from local options, that revenue is then distributed through several different agencies. And my bill would streamline the funding system by creating a single account in the revenues, other than the local share, would be deposited and then distributed through the State Treasurer's Office. This legislation also includes an accountability system built upon sound public health standards. I'm also looking at the idea of implementing a pilot project to explore a mileage tax instead of the gas tax to fund our needed transportation projects. Now, we need to start working for a fairer, more dependable source of revenue to fund these needed transportation improvements. Oregon is one of a number of states that is at least exploring the option of taxing miles traveled rather than gas purchased to pay the big price tag for these essential components of our infrastructure. Citizens could choose which one to pay, either the gas tax or the mileage tax. This will be a big issue in the House Transportation Committee, which I was recently appointed. Finally, I'm prime sponsoring legislation regarding the institution of civil marriages. I want to establish in Washington the law that a policy that civil marriage is a legal institution recognized by the state. The goal is to promote stability in a civil marriage and to protect individuals who are in these relationships. Civil marriage is based upon a civil contract between two persons, and it does not require the sanction or involvement of religious institutions. Civil marriage provides important protection for families of folks who are married, including not only children but other dependents that they may have, but also members of their extended families. I believe that our state should continue working toward ending discrimination against otherwise qualified applicants for a civil marriage license. These are just a few of the issues that I'm working on this session. I'll keep you posted on these and other legislative matters in the weeks ahead. Again, let me emphasize how much I appreciate your interest in state government. And thanks for tuning into my report today. I'm Jim Moeller, and I'll see you again soon.